Brooks that we could talk about, but I think one of the burning issues that the state legislature, all legislative delegation members of the legislature are involved in now has to do with health. Let's, during the last few minutes, talk about health and youth. I think both of you are really concerned about those areas. And what are some of the views of the state legislature, and especially the Congressional Black Caucus, dealing with some of the issues of, that many of our people ought to know about in the state of Tennessee this morning?
Well, I think probably the most controversial and the most important issue relative to health has to do with TennCare. As you know, TennCare has replaced Medicaid. The state of Tennessee has received a federal waiver to implement that program. And finally, rules and regulations have been promulgated. They have not been approved by the Government Operations Committee, but they have been promulgated, and they will be heard. They will be given a public hearing so that the public can come and attend. But it's real important for people, for constituents who have questions about this, who are concerned about whether or not their doctors and have not received any information from their doctors. If you're concerned about whether or not your doctor is participating, contact your legislators. We have brochures we can send out. There are toll-free numbers to call. And I want to emphasize that because some people are unaware that there are resources to find out this information. And it's all new, and it's changing. It's continually evolving. So I cannot emphasize enough for you to stay in contact with state officials, call your local health department, call your state representative so you can get those numbers and get the kind of information you need to know so that you can maintain your health insurance. But that's a very important issue, and we will have some legislation relative to TennCare. There's a number of networks. I believe there are 12 networks now that have signed up with the state to provide insurance for Medicaid eligibles and unemployed eligibles. You have until, I think the grace period has expired for signing up, but you do still have an opportunity to make changes. And if any constituents have made a choice and would like to make a change, you do have the opportunity to do so. Just contact your legislator or contact your local health department. They can give you those toll-free numbers to make those calls. Relative to youth, Reverend Haney, we will see a proliferation of bills, lock them up, throw away the key, build new prison, build new boot camps. Now, some of that needs to be done, but that's not the answer, in my opinion. I think what we need to look at are some preventive, front-end approaches. We need to look at doing something to prevent us having to build more prisons, lock them up, and throw away the key. And to that end, I'm sponsoring legislation that will create programs for youth who are at risk of being put in state custody. We need to do some programs that will enhance self-esteem, motivate young people to continue school, go into a vocation, and those kinds of things. So we need to take some preventive measures as well as some front-end, back-end, or reactionary type measures.
Very good. And Brother Jerkins, let's, during these last few minutes that we have here, talk about some of the activities involving youth. I think the entire world is aware of what happened quite recently in your hometown of Clarksville and some of the violence generally associated with youth. Let's talk about that youth violence during these last few minutes that we have between the two of you.
Well, I think it's very important that we do so often, and I'm just amazed with the attitude of some of the people in our community who are now wanting to lynch everybody or lynch these people or want to make sure to string them up in the city square, and that kind of attitude is vigilante, is that the word? We need to really look at the problems that bring us to some of the problems that we're experiencing now, and I think that we are experiencing some of these problems because we have not dealt rightly with some things that we have seen coming, and it's been slowly coming. We're upset in Clarksville because it's supposed to be a small, peaceful place, but this has been coming all the time. We have not wanted to admit that this kind of attitude was around, but we've got to deal with our children. If we're going to turn this world around, it has to be in the hands of our children.
And I want to add, too, Reverend Haney, that what we're doing relative to Church Day on the Hill coming up this Tuesday and Title VI is directly related. Because What we're talking about is increasing the opportunities
Very good.
for African Americans, and Title VI will help us do that. But it will not happen by us wishing it to happen. We must make it happen. We must be on Capitol Hill on February 15th, this coming Tuesday, in great numbers to demonstrate, to actually show the legislature that the African American community is concerned, and we're here to express our concern. And I say to those who are watching and who have not made up their mind, if you are serious about continuing Dr. King's dream, then you will be there to help us advocate for the establishment of the Title VI Compliance Authority. When Dr. King advocated for the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, he advocated for a complete bill implemented fully, not only public accommodations, but also economic rights, civil rights and economic rights. And we are, on February 15th, this Tuesday, we're continuing the dream. We will be advocating for economic rights for the African-American community.
And of course, Brother Jerkins, I'm not exactly sure how much time we have left here, but during the time until we end it here, let's tie these two things together again, economic opportunity and youth violence, because I don't know whether or not many people seem to understand that connection. Let's talk about that.
Well, there is a connection, and I think it can be, can be certified. And it's very important that we register to vote. We will have on the Hill, and I want to get this in, for those persons who may need to register, we will have from every county registers there to help us to make sure that when they go back home, not only can we just talk to these legislators, but we can effectively act on them.
Very good. And let me thank the two of you for coming by and giving us that excellent information this morning. I'm sure that people are going to turn out for this coming session, this coming Tuesday. And let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.